For a limited time at McDonald's, get a Big Mac extra value meal for $8. That means 2 all-beef patties, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions on a sesame seed bun, and medium fries, and a drink. We may need to change that jingle.
Prices and participation may vary.
This podcast is supported by FX's English Teacher. Last year's critically acclaimed series returns to follow Evan, Gwen, and Marky as they vie for their students' divided attention. See why Cosmopolitan called its premiere season a masterclass of comedy, while Glamour raved it's the year's funniest and most heartwarming new comedy series. FX's English Teacher, all new Thursdays on FX. All episodes now streaming on Hulu.
This episode is brought to you by Nespresso and Samra Origins by the Weekend Coffee Collection.
Introducing Samra Origins. My collaboration with Nespresso is a connection to my roots, to my mother, Samra. Coffee that hits the right notes. It transports you. Crafted with unique notes and bold, soaring flavors. Experience a taste that moves you. Nespresso and Samra Origins.
Discover more at Nespresso.com.
The family that vacations together stays together. At least, that was the plan. Except now, the Dastardly desk clerk is saying he can't confirm your connecting rooms.
Wait, what?
That's right, ma'am. You have rooms 201 and 709.
No, we cannot be 5 floors away from our kids.
The doors have double locks. They'll be fine.
When you want connecting rooms confirmed before you arrive, it matters where you stay.
Welcome to Hilton. I see your connecting rooms are already confirmed.
Hilton, for the stay.
Purina believes no one should have to make the impossible choice between their own safety and their pets. But nearly half of domestic abuse survivors delay leaving because they can't bring their pets with them. Through the Purple Leash Project, Purina is helping create more pet-friendly domestic violence shelters so survivors and their pets can escape and heal together. Visit Purina.com/purple to learn more.
Tom, what is your most lethal food allergy?
Okay, I don't have an allergy, but it's acorn squash. When I was a kid, for some reason, it made me gag, and my mother served it to me, and ever since that, I can't have acorn squash. I don't think cilantro counts in this category. It's more of an aversion than an allergy. What about you?
My allergies are psychosomatic. They are not medical, and it is cilantro. This is Pack Your Knives. I'm Kevin Arnovitz.
And I'm Tom Haberstroh.
Tom, episode 4, we go to Tottenham. The English Premier League gets its due on Top Chef. This made me very excited because I was just in Tottenham 4 weeks ago for a match against Chelsea, my first ever English Premier League soccer match. But I also, once again, I think the show in season 20 really loved the challenges. I like the structure of this show. They're doing a great job. With quick fires, they're doing a great job kind of structuring the elimination challenges. It's exciting. This is one of the more exciting week to week seasons in recent memory. That's kind of my overall impression right now. Setting aside the food and the cast, I just like the way the show is structured.
Do you think part of it has to do with the longer episode, that they feel like they have a little bit more room to play around with? Without question. And this is sort of, obviously when the show started, we were talking about linear cable or, linear television, and you had 1 hour and then everything had to hand over to the next show. But now, because, so much of television is not programmed for a time slot, they can just do what they want. And I think you're seeing that. They get more time. They can go. They don't, especially at this point in the season, when you have 14, 12, 13 chefs, you can just kind of breathe. And if it takes that long, it takes that long. And we'll still get our ad dollars, and we'll have longer episodes. And I think the endurance, you could feel the endurance contest that was the Elimination Challenge, where it's like, hey, if you didn't win the first one, you got relegated, you had to cook again. It's really intense. And then if you lose that, you got to cook again. And I do think the longer time slot is, without question, to me, probably the number one factor and why these episodes are so compelling. Yeah, the structures have been fantastic, and it does take a lot of planning. It goes to show that this Top Chef empire, it's not just let's throw a bunch of celebrity chefs together and see what happens. They went a lot of thinking to have the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, the relegation style structure that was very well thought out. A little bit of a bone to pick on the structuring, but we'll get to that later.
Oh,
and then on the quickfire, I liked the biscuit challenge. However, the savory and the sweet, I don't know if it made all that much sense to do 2 cookies. It seemed like a nice challenge to get both of their offerings, but I kind of felt like, I don't know, it seemed a little bit much. So I thought, like, if you could have done 1 biscuit and nail it, like a biscuit centered dish, that it was the star of the dish, I probably would have felt better about it. It seemed like it was a lot to do in 45 minutes. And I don't know, baking 2 cookies, 2 biscuits in 45 minutes. And that was the time constraint, right? I feel like it was 45.
I believe it was 45.
It just seemed too much. And maybe I'm being too soft here, Kevin, that baking 2 biscuits in 45 minutes, 2 different flavor profiles, 1 sweet, 1 savory. This is an amateur hour. I get what you might be saying, but I just felt like it was, I don't know. It didn't light my hair on fire.
No, I mean, to me,
whatever's left of my hair.
I think we might be missing the big one here, which is the quickfire was amazing. And it was amazing because of pastry chef Paul A. Young, because you should always, as your quickfire judge, have a pastry chef in a forest green velveteen blazer with a Yorkshire accent who is mortally offended by anyone who departs from the assignment or tries to pass off a cake as a cookie. To me, they need to bottle whatever Paul Young did. Like, this is why I really like the show this season, right? Like, they weren't trying to not hurt feelings. Like, this is a guy who lives and dies with English biscuits. Now, you and I both know that English,
I'm fine with them. I'm okay.
Exactly.
If I don't have an English biscuit for the rest of my life, I'm going to be fine. I'm going to be just fine.
That is the correct answer. But what was great about pastry chef Paul A. Young, not to be confused with Paul Young, every time I go away, I take a piece of me with you, or you take a piece of whatever that 80s song that Paul Young hit the top 10 with. But Paul A. Young, it works so beautifully because this guy lives and dies for biscuits. He was offended if it didn't crack. I love when he bangs like a schoolmarm. He bangs the Amar's biscuits. That's what it sounds like. Like, he had no problem hurting the feelings of chefs who didn't conform to the challenge, who tried to reinterpret, as Tom did. And by the way, I also would say this to the chefs. You know what else I loved? I love that there was a talented chef on the show who was like, I freaking hate biscuits. I hate dry cookies. Screw these guys. Yeah. I'm going to make a cake and call it a cloud. And if he doesn't like it, cheers. Right? Like, what made, to me, yeah, I understand. And I wouldn't, if they revised the challenge and said just make 1 biscuit, I'd be fine with it. I think you have great points here. But what made, to me, the quickfire challenge great was, like, they were afraid of the judge. Yep, the judge was completely supercilious about, like, the primacy of the English biscuit, even though you and I both know English biscuits are league average. Like, in terms of the European pastries, like, England's way the hell down. I know the British Baking Show. I know this is probably verboten to many Anglophiles, but it's just a fact. But what was great is he had so much personality. He was so devoted to this craft of biscuit making. He had no problem just glaring down in that Yorkie accent. Just like, it was great. And I encourage Top Chef, like, bring on more just fastidious judges who are going to be so protective of the assignment at hand. And, like, that's why it worked for me, was he was a character. It wasn't just like, hey, I'm a person from the Top Chef world and I'm really happy to be here and I'm not going to say anything. What were your least favorite desserts today? Well, everyone did a great job. No, everyone didn't do a great job. Like, Tom made a friggin' cloud. Yeah. That's poor. Well, like, yeah.
Yeah, I just think that when we're talking about the characters on this show and the judges, sometimes they're kind of window dressing, or they're just decorations on the wall. They're there, you see them, they give their 2 cents, and then they're off. This was an actual contributor to the program, where it felt like they felt his gravitas. Obviously, visually, he's got some. You can feel his presence, right? And then he was your point about how he just lives and dies with the English biscuit. It reminds me of like if you had a bunch of like 10 of the best baseball players or baseball hitters of all time, and they had to compete to who is the most complete hitter of all time. And then here comes Earl Weaver, and he's like, I want you all to bunt for me. Give me the perfect bunt. Lay down the perfect bunt. And they're all
Earl Weaver didn't believe in the bunt though.
Or Lou Piniella or Tommy Lasorda, whatever cantankerous baseball manager who's just you're kind of like shaking in your boots or in your cleats. Watching him as you're trying to lay down a bunt when you know that all you want to do is just mash it over the wall. It did feel like they were like, oh man, I got to make a biscuit here, not an American biscuit. And you could see that even Sarah was like, I'm just going to do a very Southern version of this. But I loved what Tom did. I thought it was hilarious. He's obviously not going to do that in an elimination challenge, but in a quick fire where only upside, there's no downside to doing something like this. It felt like he had a religious or something spiritually against, like something in his loins would not let himself do a biscuit or a cookie that would snap. And I appreciate that. More power to Tom. I wish he was on my team. He's on your team, but more power to him.
Yeah, no, and that was what was fun is there were personality dynamics in the challenge, and I think it's great when there is a guest judge who just approaches it that way. Like they need to just kind of send the Paul A. Young reel to all future quickfire judges and say, hey, act like that, or act some variation of that, or just don't be afraid to kind of be authoritative. And it just made for such a fun thing. And I'm with you because like the actual, like, again, I'm not terribly excited about this because there was nothing on that table that looked really good.
Yeah.
In fact, I would say like Celia's emerging to me as one of the great sources of comic relief of this season. Like you would serve anybody an anchovy cookie with parsley and shallots. By the way, did not land her on the bottom three. The bottom three were Tom for his cloud, which looked delicious. Gabri for his corn biscuit with kimchi, tomato, and pickled celery. And Victoire, who, and by the way, another new MVP for me in Top Chef Season 20 is Victoire. Like, in terms of sheer quotabilities, we don't bake in Congo. Finish your dish and you can die. Finish your dish and you can die. We will talk about her allergic reaction shortly. But Victoire, didn't cook with gluten, which is kind of the thing that kind of binds together and makes and coheres a biscuit. Hers sablé was not good. But it was just, I was a huge fan of this challenge, and it was nothing to do with the actual food on the table. It was just the way the drama unfolded.
Yeah. What would you pay, Kevin, to get an uncut version of the quickfire with Paul A. Young? Like Tom and Paul Young, what they really said to each other that we didn't get to air. What kind of, I just want that director's cut of that quickfire. I feel like a lot more went down. And Tom, if you're listening, we'd love to hear more about Paul A. Young. And Paul, if you're listening, come on the show. The invite is open. The door is open for you to come on and explain the virtues of an English biscuit. But that was really special. Nicole, Ali, and Luciana with the top three of the quickfire. Ali wins and gets immunity for his za'atar biscuit. And he did a thing which was right up Paul A. Young's alley. He said, my favorite thing to do is dunk. And it just feels weird to me that, like, in order to make biscuits edible, you have to make it dunking into something. You have to put it in something to make it taste good. I don't know. It rubs me the wrong
damning,
way.
Isn't it? Yeah, right. Like that is incriminating unto itself. But what was actually interesting is Ali's win is to me interesting on a number of levels. He had the za'atar biscuit, orange sabla. Of the biscuits, his was kind of, he didn't depart as much. He didn't slather on interesting ingredients or obscure ingredients, right? To the extent he did savory, it was just za'atar, which is just a lovely herb and spice blend from his part of the world. And it does seem like, I think one of the themes, and it came through in the elimination challenge as well, is this is a big season for stay true to the challenge, stay true to the ingredient, highlight the actual ingredient, and keep in that spirit of the challenge. Like, I'm noticing that, even when food is good or creative, like they want a pure biscuit. They want the cheese forward in the cheese challenge, right? Like, I think that it has become kind of the criterion above which there is nothing else right now. And so, like, it's not a coincidence that Ali wins for one of the 12 sets of biscuits on that judge's table. definitely one of the more pure, the one that is most recognizable as an English biscuit. I thought Nicole's were beautiful too. And by the way, I'm a big pistachio and rose combo guy. I like this sort of, I like Middle Eastern dessert with those flavor profiles. There's great Persian ice cream in Los Angeles, and like the pistachio rose flavor at one of these places is just incredible. It is one of my favorite. And Luciana, though she obviously gets eliminated later. I wasn't familiar with Saquilos. With tonka bean. I was not. Yep. You're familiar though? You grew up in Brazil in part.
I did not have those that I remember. But pão de queijo is this like cheesy bread that you might have at like Folga de Chão or something like that. That was the first thing I thought of, was like that cheesy bread that they serve sometimes at Brazilian steakhouses and whatnot. That's where my mind immediately went to, because when this challenge was presented, I was like, I wonder what Luciana's going to do. Maybe one of those. But no, it's not technically a biscuit. It's more like a bread, and it's not a cloud. So Luciana, I checked her name off as someone who I thought would finish in the top 3 in this one. I also had Begonia. I thought they liked Buddha's. He did that black pepper taco thing with the prosciutto and then the raspberry cream pie. I don't know if it's a sense of he's holding things back, but it doesn't seem like Buddha is nailing his quick fires or his dishes as much as I thought he might. Do you get the sense that I wouldn't say disappointing, but do you get the sense that he's not performing up to the same levels as you expected?
I mean, I think his highs are still very high, and we saw that last week, right? Like we saw he and Luciano winning that. I mean, that was him, right? Yeah. And so on one hand, I would say, hey, when Buddha brings it, he is as good as anyone. I mean, those look like, I mean, one thing that Paul A. Young said was, an afternoon tea presentation, like, yes. So clearly they were impressed. And hey, I mean, it seemed like, again, I do that thing sometimes when, even though there's 12 and we only know the bottom 3 and the top 3, you can kind of guess who 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9.
He's close. Yeah.
Rough order. Yeah. But yeah, he's not dominating, if that's the question. The question is, this is not a Voltaggio-esque romp through the competition where you're just consistently placing. I mean, obviously they, and we'll talk about the elimination challenge. He was, the loser on the first cheese challenge, or part of a losing team that was pretty stacked. But yeah, he's not dominating, and this was also a rough week for Begonia as well. I think you and I, the way we have it appraised right now is that Buddha and Begonia are the 2 best chefs in the competition. Though Ali, I think at this point has a claim as well, and he's a machine. So, but it was kind of an odd week in that respect. Like, it was kind of an odd week where I think, we do that thing where, you saw the 4, and we'll get to the elimination in a second, but if you looked at the 4 teams and handicapped them, I think we were both shocked to see teams helmed by Begonia and Buddha respectively end up in the losers bracket or in the relegation field. So yeah, it is. This was if there's an argument that there's a lot of parity in season 20, if that is an argument, this would be Exhibit A, right? This week was definitely Exhibit A.
Yeah.
In that.
Let's talk quickly about this dinner party, or this dinner that they had, that you kind of had they had the night off. And before they go into the elimination challenge, they're sitting at the table. And it seemed like we had our first get to know the characters or get to see them interact, where it seemed like up until this point, I don't feel like we got a lot of this social, hey, let's go check out what they're making for dinner, or we have a couple minutes to just see them in their elements, just relaxing. And I really loved getting to know some of these characters in Chef Testin. So for example, Victoire's story about leaving Congo and going to Italy and facing the institutional racism that she experienced, and the fact that she learned English 4 months ago and is going into this competition, and Buddha, raises a glass to her and everyone's just in awe. She has command of 7 languages. She's got a great sense of humor. And as we'll learn later, just a total badass in the kitchen, where she has an allergy and she's just pushing through it. And it just seems like Victoire is really shining through and has an incredible story. And I'm just happy we were able to see that. And we got to learn about Begonia's living situation, where she explains that, you know, she raises her son with her mother and with her ex-boyfriend, and people kind of look at her strangely about that. But I don't know. I kind of like to get a little bit more texture and layers to the chef testants here. What did you think about that?
Yeah, no, without question, and especially this season. I mean, I don't think you can overstate just the amount of resilience it takes to survive two Congolese wars. I mean, the first one, I mean, it was like, you know, Kabila in the late 90s, and then several years later, once he's in office, and then everything falls to shit. And just like to be a woman, to grow up in the Congo during that unrest, to, you know, eventually land in northern Italy, which is probably not a terribly hospitable place for a woman of Congolese descent who doesn't speak the language and is immigrating, and working in kitchens, which are notoriously hostile, which is what much of the last 10 years is kind of reform, or 5 years really been about in the restaurant movement, is astounding. And I loved hearing her story. It is, it is. You know, again, I think there are people who watch shows who find anything outside the area of competition to be sort of filler. I don't. And, you know, for a woman who came from the DRC and just getting her story I loved hearing it. And
it was a good story arc for like what was to come in the Elimination Challenge, and the adversity that she faced in that. So let's get to the Elimination Challenge. We're at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Kevin, give me the scouting report. Talk to me about your experience and what it was like for you to be there.
All right. So it is amazing. And I'd never been to an English Premier League match. This is literally 4 or 5 weeks ago. I was taken by my niece, Maya, who is a original Pack Your Knives listener.
Hey, Maya.
In my estimation, cares deeply about two things: food and English football, particularly Tottenham. My family are Tottenham season ticket holders in London. So I got to go to my first match. It was against Chelsea, which was having a really rough year. It was just, it is a gorgeous stadium. It is, you have been to a lot of sports venues. I've been to a lot of sports venues. It is majestic. It is modern. It is efficient. It is like one of those, hey, there's 75,000 seats in here, but there are no bad seats. You know, we were upstairs, kind of front row, kind of in the corner, but it was a great seat. Also, very good food, you should know. Like, Tom, you would be very impressed with the vending. I mean, obviously, stadiums have come a long way around the world, and it's gotten much, really improved in the last 10, 15 years. And as we know, the NBA has some great food arenas now. But this was great. And Maya is a particular fan of the Korean chicken and chips. The Korean fried chicken and chips is a very delectable item. At least where we were sitting, it's that particular stand is right outside our seats. Now I did not partake. I had previously though I wasn't. Yeah, it was pretty amazing for London. I actually had a good dinner the previous night. But it is a wonderful venue, and Tottenham is, you know, they might be overselling them and saying by one of the best teams in the league. Like I think Tottenham fans in their enduring torment would tell you, you know, they haven't won anything in ages, but it was still a great venue. It's a gorgeous pitch. I had a great time, and I was just happy. I was hoping there would be some English Premier League pimpery in this season, and we got it. And I love that they chose Tottenham.
Yeah, and they really leaned into the theme of soccer or football, what have you. I'm American, excuse me. And did the relegation tournament, this little bracket. Now we're in March Madness with college hoops here in America. And then you also had this relegation system, which was true to the English Premier League. I love this. The setup of there's going to be brackets, 4 teams of 3. You had to kind of choose your own team, the schoolyard, who's going to go with who. The teams were set up. I wasn't too surprised with the breakdown, but it was interesting to me, Kevin, how nobody wanted to be on Ali's team. And I could not figure it out at the beginning when Charbel was like, I had to stay away from Ali. And I was like, is this like a Middle Eastern, North African like rivalry that I don't know about? And then it occurred to me that Ali, of course, has immunity and therefore is kind of anchoring whatever team he has with that kind of invincibility. So I think that was really cool. The green team, Luciana, Gabri, and Begonia, they seem like a lock to be just great chemistry, that they love each other. They are all, we have the Brazilian champ, the Mexican champ, and the Spanish champ. All of that lends itself to that was a very predictable team. And, when they started divvying themselves up, I was like, oh, that one's going to do really well. And of course, we'll get to that. Then the purple team is Charbel, Sarah, and Sylvia. Red, so Charbel did avoid Ali. Buddha did not avoid Ali, even though he didn't want to have anything to do with him, but he gets paired up with Tom as well. Team Red, Victoire, Amar, and Nicole. I had it, I don't know how you had it, Kevin, but I had it as yellow team number 1, even with Ali on it. I just felt like even though he's got immunity, I thought that he's been so strong that it wouldn't matter. Then I had the green team with Begonia, Gabri, and Luciana. I had in the third position, Charbel, Sarah, and Sylvia, and then red, Victoire, Amar, and Nicole. And boy, was I wrong.
It was a strange curve on it. I'm trying to kind of I was trying to think about like what happened, and I don't know what happened. I mean, the only theories I have for what happened is, particularly in the first round, I think, like, Nicole, Victoire, and Amar made a full dish. And for whatever reason, the Begonia Luciana team decided to go with almost a quick fire SK. This is 45 minutes. Let's do a quick fire type dish, right? A poached egg with, pear and balsamic and
the espuma with the egg yolk made no sense to me, Kevin. What is that, Begonia? Come on. Like the textures. Luciana came in and was like, no, this tastes like baby food to me, which gave me a good chuckle. And they didn't really fix it. It didn't work.
Right. Okay, let's throw some crumble in and there's our texture. Whereas, I think obviously the other team is like, we're going to do a main. We are going to do roasted duck breast and then do what you do with Stilton, which is if you pair it with great stone fruit or roasted fruit of any kind, get a little nut crumble in there, with apologies to Victoire, who had to take an EpiPen. I'm allergic to bee stings, and I have done that. You just stab yourself in the thigh.
Did you find it weird? I thought it was amazing that they showed it.
Yeah, I love that they showed it. Like, let's get behind the scenes.
It's like, whoa, they're going to show this thing. And she took it like a champ. She was like not even phased. Oh, I love it.
It's weird. It's not like you just have to stab yourself really hard. Or in this case, she was, hopefully there's someone there to do it for you. I was on a Portuguese hiking trail by myself, so it was like, shit, I got to do this. And it's like, it was very weird to kind of stab yourself. But they made a real dish. They made a real dish, and the green team decided not to. And then in the other division, the purple versus yellow, you know what? That was sort of, I think, cheese got lost, right? That was sort of the battle of the cheeses. And though it was very interesting because it kind of set us up for, oh yes, cauliflower au gratin, how freaking obvious. Tom had said something, Buddha said something, we caught on mic that like, oh, they're really glad they didn't do that. And, but at the same time, they didn't fully embrace the Wensleydale cheese thing. They did a puree over the braised onion. By the way, the second dish in 4 weeks where an onion is actually the centerpiece. This is the year of the onion. This is not Top Chef. This is not Top Onion, Tom. It is Top Chef, but apparently it is Top Onion. And I was sort of impressed with the fact that they would do that.
Is it popular in like Jordan? So Ali and Charbel, Middle Eastern. I forget where Charbel's from, but I kind of feel
Charbel's Lebanese.
Lebanese. Okay, so. I love braised onions. I love caramelized onions. So the fact that they were doing it again with cheese, it was almost like not a French onion soup, but you get the idea. And I was a big fan of this. So they didn't nail it because, as you said, it got swamped. The cheese got swamped, whereas that was a strength on the other side. It was a 4-1 score. And Kevin, I was stunned that these two teams, red and purple, came away victorious.
I'm also always interesting, like on the Supreme Court, the one dissenting vote. Like, I would love to know from Padma kind of why she preferred that over the other one, why she preferred the gold team. She was the one vote for the gold team, the onion as centerpiece. But yeah, so it was unpredictable. And I think, in the first one, it was, one team did a main, the other team didn't. And in the second, it was one team was really captured the cheese and the other not so much, even though it looked really good. You could totally see it's fun now. One of the things I love is that moment in the season where you really start to understand each chef's inclinations and habits. Like Tom loves to kind of pickle components and add the acid that way. And you could see that. I mean, the braised onion dish looked great to me. I mean,
me too.
And so is that, but nonetheless, the cauliflower Welsh rarebit, probably without knowledge of knowing that there was a rarebit challenge in Last Chance Kitchen, which you will get to later. Tom will do our LCK recap. So the relegation sets up a match between.
Hold on one second. I want to hit on something real quick, Kevin. Which one would you rather cook with, Stilton or the Wensleydale?
Dude, I'm not going to lie to you. I've seen Wensleydale on lists. I couldn't pick it out of a lineup.
But like the mild cheese, or you want like the strong?
I still think Wensleydale, it seems like it's still pretty strong, right? Okay. Like I don't, but I love Stilton. I love blue cheese of all kind. Man.
Yes.
Like
give me some funk.
Blue cheese is wonderful. And it's also just great. I love it in salads.
Yes.
It is.
Here's a secret for those who are watching their weight a little bit or don't want heavy fast food. Secret menu: Wendy's apple pecan salad is so good. Wendy's apple pecan salad has some blue cheese. It's got it's got candied pecans in it. It's so good. It's like every time I'm on a road trip and I'm feeling like, oh man, I don't know if I can, this rock is going to sit in my stomach for the next 5 hours. For those who haven't tried the apple pecan salad at Wendy's, it is a delight. I highly recommend it. You get a blue cheese, candied pecan salad with grilled chicken on top with a pomegranate vinaigrette on top. It's legit. Anyway.
Listener, listen up. This is important, okay? I'm going to try to save you some money here. If you're still overpaying for wireless, it's time to say yes to saying no. At Mint Mobile, their favorite word is no. You may think like, oh, that's bad. No contracts, no monthly bills, no overages, no hidden fees, no BS. Here's why I said yes to making the switch and getting premium wireless for $15 a month. You heard that correctly. $15 per month. Ditch overpriced wireless and the jaw-dropping monthly bills. And of course, there are all these hidden fees and stuff, but at Mint Mobile, plans start at $15 per month. All the plans come with high-speed data, unlimited talk and text. You're not doing like weekend and nighttime minutes or anything like that. And it's delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. Use your own phone. Don't have to get a new phone. Use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and bring your phone number along with all of your existing contacts. I switched months ago. People have asked, did you actually switch? Yes, I actually switched months ago, and I don't know what to do with all this extra money. I've cheated the system here. I've rigged something. This is an Ocean's 11 situation where I'm stealing wireless from Mint. That's how good a deal it is. Ready to say yes to saying no? Make the switch at mintmobile.com/dings. That's D-I-N-G-S. That's mintmobile.com/dings. Upfront payment of $45 required, equivalent to $15 per month. Limited time new customer offer for first 3 months only. Speeds may slow above 35 gigabytes on unlimited plan. Taxes and fees extra. See Mint Mobile for details.
Hello, listener. It's Producer Maze here to talk to you about Quince and their cookware. Cooler nights mean cozy meals at home, and Quince's cookware has made fall cooking so much more enjoyable. Their pieces deliver the quality and performance of luxury brands, but at a price that makes sense. And they look gorgeous on the stovetop, too. No matter what item you need to complete your kitchen, Quince has you covered. With 5-ply stainless steel pots and pans, nonstick skillets, chef-quality knives, and even ceramic bakeware, which is perfect for cozy casseroles or Sunday roasts. And when you look at these prices, you might think, how is Quince doing this? How do they deliver high-quality items similar to high-end brands that are half the price? Well, let me tell you, they partner directly with ethical top-tier factories to cut out the middlemen and pass the savings on to you. And it's not just cookware. I got myself some bath sheets. That's right. When you're a tall man, you have to use bath sheets, not bath towels from Quince. It's like drying off with the cloud. It's incredible. Upgrade your kitchen for cozy fall meals with premium cookware from Quince. Go to quince.com/dings for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. That's QUINCE.com/dings, DINGS, to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/dings. Hello, listener. It's producer Maze here to talk to you about Kindred. Now, close your eyes like Owen Wilson during a job interview and imagine a way to travel that feels personal, comfortable, and connected without the price tags and the sterile feelings of hotels or short-term rentals. Now open your eyes and stop using your imagination because Kindred has made it very real. That's exactly what they do. Kindred is a members-only home swapping network. It's not a hotel. It's not a short-term rental. It's a smarter way to travel where each stay feels like home. Here's how it works. With Kindred, your home is your ticket. You earn credits by hosting fellow Kindred members, and then you use those credits to stay in over 220,000 homes in more than 100 cities worldwide. There are no hotel costs or rental fees, just the credits that you've earned. Every stay comes with white glove service, 24/7 trip support, and $100,000 in host protection. Make it easier for you to travel and enjoy yourself and not worry about details. I've used Kindred and I found an amazing home for a weekend getaway in an idyllic location with amazing views and great ambiance. It had everything I needed. And the best part was, it cost me $0. So apply now at livekindred.com and use code DINGS to join for free. Plus, you'll earn 5 nights of travel credit just for signing up. That's right, that's 5 whole nights for free at livekindred, KINDRED.com, code DINGS, DINGS, livekindred.com, code DINGS.
How do you top your love for your cat? With a cascade of decadent savory gravy over a mouth-watering mousse pâté. Fancy Feast gems. 2 gourmet pâtés in 1 convenient pack. Simply peel and plate to reveal a pyramid shape that makes eating delightful and pamper her with an experience as extraordinary as she is. Turn the everyday into the extraordinary with Fancy Feast gems.
Wish you could become a morning person? You know the type, up before the sun, early morning runs, first one to the office with donuts and a smile. How do they do it? Easy. With the new Galaxy Watch 8, sleep tracking and personalized insights from Samsung Health help you improve so you can wake up to a whole new you. One who, dare I say it, skips the snooze? It's possible. Train your sleep with Galaxy Watch 8. Learn more at Samsung.com. Requires compatible Samsung Galaxy phone, Samsung Health app, and Samsung account.
Second thing I want to ask you here. Victoire versus Nicole. Nicole says she's reformed. She used to be a little bit more domineering in the past and felt like, she's mellowed out, she's matured, and she was giving a lot of tips to Victoire, and she did the thing where instead of just like asking Victoire to do something, she reached across and grabbed a knife and started cutting an onion, a red onion, on Victoire's cutting board, and it seemed like to me that was too far. She crossed the line, and Victoire's laughing about it. But man, that kind of felt like, oh, you don't go there. And Nicole had a little moment where she went back to her old ways. Nicole did do very well in the quick fire, did very well in this challenge, but I can see that she's got some Buddha in her. The idea of she's a little bit more forceful in her chemistry, I guess you should say.
Yeah, I think one of the rules of middle age is your personality traits are sort of set. You can moderate them, you can work on them, but I imagine that like the intensity of Top Chef competition pretty much just activates them, no matter how much you think you are not the same person you were 15 years ago. And Nicole is one of our more middle-aged contestants. I think that's what's going on. And by the way, I'm very fond of Nicole, and I'm feeling very good about that pick. There's been so much team competition. It's been really hard to gauge as like who are the true standouts, other than we obviously came with knowledge of Buddha, and Begonia just kind of wowed us at the beginning and her credentials and everything. But I think Nicole has kind of been one of the most consistent chefs so far in the competition. Yep. But yeah, she's clearly got that dominating. And again, it's probably not as, and again, I do think that there's something that has happened in the restaurant industry where there wasn't a certain and I don't want to suggest that she was, ever in the realm of somebody who's unacceptable conduct in the kitchen, but like, I do think everyone has kind of toned down the domineering, anything that might be sort of interpreted as disrespect or whatever. And I do think that has been muted somewhat, but yeah, she's still who she is. I mean, and I don't know. I mean, my question when I see these conflicts in the kitchen is like, was she right? We saw Buddha, and like clearly Buddha has a reputation. We saw, there've been some side comments in various testimonials. Well, Buddha likes to do the way, but the bottom line is, was he right? Like we saw it with Luciana last week. He was sort of very dismissive of her. He minced no words. Like, they're not going to like this. This isn't good. It needs to be done again. And was he right is the question. So there is sort of substance and then manner. And yeah, she's got she's rough around the edges, but I'm feeling Nicole right now. I think she's pretty damn good.
So the losers bracket, we'll talk about in a sec, but did you get a sense in our scoring system, we have 10 points to the winning chef of an elimination challenge? I didn't get the sense here that there was a particularly winning team. If you go by deficit, the red team swept their matchup against green 5-0, and then the purple team went up 4-1 decisively. I didn't get a sense that there was a standout chef or a standout team, so I kind of gave all of the top 6 here, 3 from each team, 5 points. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think you kind of nailed it. Like, there's always the danger we wouldn't want to give 6 people what you would give for an individual elimination win. On the other hand, you do need to reward the fact that they were there. It is, look, this has been one of the more interesting parts of the season. I feel like they have relied more on team competition than typically. They typically do. Just the last 2 alone are both, like, we've not had individual elimination challenges in a while. And but I think that sounds fair, Tom. Like, 5 would be that's essentially what you reward, as you said, for a top 3 finish, and that seems about right. You can't give anybody 10 points unless we knew decisively that they were the catalyst in the winning dish, but it's hard to kind of glean what happened there. But I'm comfortable. If you're comfortable, I'm comfortable with that.
Okay.
I like your proposal a lot.
So we'll stay with that. So for those listening, no 10-point winner here because there was no winner, quote unquote, in the truest sense, in the spirit of the scoring system. All of the winning teams here in this round got 5 points each. So that's Victoire, Amar, Nicole, Charbel, Sarah, Sylvia. Sarah and Sylvia, and Charbel, they did a good job, I think, of giving feedback. So I guess the sauce was not seasoned enough, and Sarah pushed back on it and wanted to have more seasoning and more flavor in there. So it didn't seem like they were perfect, that it was as smooth as maybe some other teams. But as we'll see in the next round here, Kevin, just because they work smoothly and efficiently and quietly and confidently doesn't necessarily mean that they had a very flavorful dish. When we were looking at Ali, Buddha, and Tom on the previous one, it seemed like they were just humming along and that everyone knew their roles and that they were just going to knock this out of the park. But it didn't seem like that was necessarily a harbinger for success on that last round. They did better with their apple tart, but you could clearly see Buddha once again has asserted himself as the alpha, as the executive chef on these teams. And while I think that's good if that is in your personality and let that breathe through, I wonder how much longer that's going to last, where someone like Ali or Tom are going to feel like they're being delegated to a sous chef role, and whether that's going to come back to haunt Buddha. But look, he won this round 5-0, so I can't knock it because it worked.
Yeah, I thought the most interesting decision was going with dessert to begin with, because that is fraught with risk, right? They decided that Bramley apple, really sour apple that's native to England and very popular, what do you do? And I think to choose dessert, which was actually particularly surprising, because it does seem like, I don't know that actually I shouldn't say this. I was about to say that, Tom has an aversion to dessert. No, I think he just has an aversion to biscuits, because that cake actually looked quite good, the cloud cake. But it is a big, big decision. I mean, I was very concerned. Like, I was like, they could be going down. Like, they're doing dessert. Mm-hmm. Like, dessert has not typically been always a winning decision unless you are a pastry chef. There's a reason that when you go to these nice restaurants, pastry chef is written as like a separate position. And it is truly kind of cordoned off from the rest of the operation. Like pastry chef comes in, does the 3 desserts that you see at the bottom of the menu, and it's a self-contained process. And so I just was kind of floored by that. Like they didn't go with, because you can imagine a pork dish with some nice apple. It's a very good compliment. You always see like a pork tenderloin with, the apple accompaniment. And they decided, no, we're going to go with dessert. But he clearly had a vision. And I do think that there was also, on the other hand, I think it was a really good decision because it was the single best way to highlight the apple. Because by definition, if you're doing a savory, the apple is going to be just an accompaniment, right? It's just going to be a component of a larger dish, which highlights a protein, right? Like how much apple can you truly get in a savory dish? The answer is some, but in a dessert, all of a sudden the apple becomes the star of the show. And so what first gave me great anxiety on their behalf was sort of like, I see what they're doing. And like, it was a very smart decision. So they go with this Bramley apple tart, caramelized apple, nut crumble, creme anglaise, to kind of, keep it in sort of, literally English cream. And I think it worked well, whereas green got muddled, right? Like it was conceptually, and this might be the one pitfall of Begonia, who I'm still just is my favorite chef of the season and is so high concept. And so she's so creative. And I think she's a brilliant mad scientist, but the crab apple cannelloni, like where do you get in there? And it was kind of a messy dish. It just was a messy dish. Apple mayo. I'm actually kind of dying to know what apple mayo is. She referred to it as a sauce. Was it like an aioli? But it just, everything got muddled. The apple wasn't highlighted to the extent it was brown. That's the problem when you cut like apples and pears too early. They can turn really mealy or really just brown really quickly. And so it turned out that the let's risk everything and go with dessert ended up being a 5-0 unanimous decision, positive decision.
Yeah, I thought it looked like almost like an enchilada. Like that's the first thought I had when I saw that they were putting that sauce on top of it to mask that they overcooked and burnt the apple. And so, it was a cannelloni, but I didn't nail that dish. And obviously they didn't win. So they get moved to the bottom, which is, the nice twist, the plot twist for this show is that be careful what you wish for being on the same team as your pals, because you might have to slice their throat and send them home. And here's where Gabri, Begonia, and Luciana are going and realizing one of them is on the chopping block and, they are exhausted. Kevin, this, I know why they didn't do like a winner's bracket where we get to see who won the challenge because it's just time constraints. But I really felt for these 3 chefs. They looked exhausted trying to do another round of food right back to back after just losing to Ali, Bud, Buddha, and Tom. They just looked like they were melting to the floor.
Yeah, and I love when Top Chef kind of inserts like endurance as one of the necessary ingredients to getting through the week. Like I do love these challenges, not just because we get to see, so many different competitions. We basically got to see essentially 4 competitions in 25 minutes, which is just a good ratio of action to preparation. And so that's awesome. But I also love it because it really does test the mettle. Top Chef to me is great when it's a test of endurance. And this was totally why. English peas. I love English peas.
Do you?
I was glad to see.
Okay.
I do. I love, it's just such it's actually great with fish. I was actually shocked that nobody, well, actually, no, I shouldn't say that. The salmon carpaccio, scallop carpaccio. Scallop's such an interesting kind of, it's a sweet seafood. It's kind of a different ballgame, but I was a
little disappointed in that choice. It seemed like that the English pea was like the garnish rather than the star, and the other 2 dishes it felt like the English pea was the star.
No, you started coming at doing it, and I have sort of this was actually one of those, one of the things we always, and there's nothing absolutely zero that can be done because about this is, the only downside to me of a food competition series is ultimately you can never taste the food, right? Like we can sit here and argue about who had the best dish or who had the best idea or who seemed to have the best prep or understand the challenge the most. But at the end of the day, unlike a Project Runway where you can see the outfit, we just can never taste it. And this was like one of those cases where I really wanted to taste all 3 of those dishes. Because, I don't know if this was your interpretation, but it seemed like a really close battle. Luciana could very well have been the winner if you did it purely on how well did you prepare and cook the peas, right? Like she clearly was superior to Begonia and Gabri on that account. And so it was one of those where I really wanted to taste, just so, not because, it just looks so delicious, but because like, I honestly, I'd like to know what considering here, because it seemed like so much of the debate was surrounding issues we couldn't as viewers really speak to. But to me, I think Luciana's downfall was this, like, and you kind of saw it, which was A, what you said, which is the pea was less prominent in her dish than other dishes, but B, but like when you're doing are you a fan of yakiniku sauce? What often is referred to as Japanese barbecue sauce?
Yes.
Yes. It's delicious. And in fact, have you seen in the grocery store I think it's called Bachan brand. It looks like just kind of a fast food like squirt bottle and it says Japanese barbecue sauce. This is one of my favorite mass-produced products on the market right now. They actually have a yuzu flavor barbecue sauce. Ooh. Like Japanese barbecue sauce is delicious, but it's totally going to overwhelm.
That's what I was going to say. That, right. Like, again, the star of the dish has to be the English pea. And just as Paul A. Young says, you got to read the brief. I don't know if she really read the brief here.
And you kind of saw it coming, right? The peas were going to be lost in this delicious sauce. And it's disappointing because, the pea velouté looked great. I mean, I think you and I both are huge fans of scallop carpaccio, and raw scallop is such a great canvas for anything. Mm-hmm. So that was disappointing. I mean, I did kind of, and I don't know about you, I looked at Begonia's dish and was like, she ain't going home.
Yeah. Oh, right? Yeah. 100%. I was like, you do peas 3 ways, you fry them. It was like, she's not going home. You make a meringue
from the pea water, like you make something that's silky and good looking. I was worried about Gabri, his peas and beets, but that pea mint tuile, look, he's got, he is very good at the tuile kind of, he does just enough bell and whistling to kind of get his food to the elevated category, which I do think, as much as they might feign to, they wouldn't deign to admit it, I do think that like Tom is very taken by that. I know that Gail is, right? Like they can be persuaded with novelty.
And Ledley, the soccer player, seemed to love it. He was obsessed with that dish. And that goes a long way when you're the guest judge. And I would have said that Gabri would have been the long shot here to hang on next to Luciana and Begonia. But Kevin, if you look at just points, like he's probably the most bang for your buck pick of the season. He was the last pick of our draft, and he's done very well. And not to say that he's getting any points in this competition, in this elimination challenge, because he was in the bottom 3. But I think he has got to be the biggest surprise this season, that he keeps delivering and holding off Begonia and Luciana and staying on. Really impressive. I'm impressed, I got to say.
Yeah, it is such a, it's funny, I'm looking at the scoring sheet, and it is such a weird season. Because here we are, and the bottom fantasy total numbers for surviving chefs right now are Tom, who I feel like hasn't made really an error other than telling a pastry chef to screw off, right? Like, I'm not going to do this. Sylvia, which makes sense, the potato lady. Yeah. But then we have Amar, who I feel like hasn't like laid an egg or anything. And then of all people, Begonia only has 7 fantasy total points right now. And yet she's one of my 2 favorite chefs. And I think she's the second, like one of the 2 most talented chefs in the competition. So it is very strange. Like there is this confirmation, this sort of misperception that I'm kind of suffering from, where it's like, oh yeah, Tom's just killing it, right? He's killing it. And then it's like, I look up, it's like, he's got 7 points. That's nothing.
Yeah.
Or Begonia, wow, she's just transcendent. Oh, she's got 7 points. That's nothing. Meanwhile, it's like Nicole's bouncing along with 11. Ali's at 15. I mean, he's clearly, like, if anyone has a claim to being one of the 2 most capable chefs on the competition, it's Ali, without question. He's just a force. And even Victoire, who I think we have in sort of second division land, she's got 9. I mean, it's a very strange standing sheet right now.
Yeah, I think a couple of things on that is I think with the prevalence of the team challenges, it kind of lends itself to flattening the score a little bit. If everything was just, you're going to cook this dish, you're an individual, there's no collaboration, maybe we would see some sort of cream rising to the top. But in this season, we're not really getting the 73 win Warriors in this competition. It just hasn't happened. They haven't separated themselves yet. And Gabri's really, I gotta say, he's fun to watch. He kind of seems like he doesn't know really what he's doing half the time, and then he puts together a really great dish. And so, look, when we talk about what we want to see in World All-Stars London, they're performing at a high level. We're getting some good characters here, and unfortunately, the Brasileira is no longer with us on the elimination challenge. She gets sent home without the star being presented, the English P not being presented as the star of the dish. She goes home. They said it was a little bit flat. But I'm not happy to see her go home, but I think it was the weakest dish of the three. And if it was a different challenge, a different brief, as Paul would say, maybe she would hang on. But like you said, this was very thin margins to go home, and she ended up having to go to Last Chance Kitchen.
Yeah, there is, and again, parity is a theme we talk about a lot, but there is, as much as I continue to want to tier the field here, there's just too much parity to possibly make sense of anything right now. I mean, and we saw it again this week. I am, though, very eager to see some individual quick fires, or rather individual elimination challenges. Again, I think the show's done an amazing job this season setting up competitions. To your point, I think the longer episodes allow for it. But I want now to see some tete-a-tete. I do want to see couple elimination challenges where it's not necessarily teamwork. Then again, here I am also praising the fact that I do think they've been able to achieve more interesting personal dynamics.
It's a balance. Yeah.
Right. Team competition is the best way to do that. So, I'm probably being overly demanding and saying, hey, I want individual, and yet I do appreciate that the team competitions have introduced more interpersonal dynamics, which are just more interesting to watch. I mean, it's funny. I'm not looking, and we've had this debate much of the last 3 or 4 seasons. I don't need manufactured villains or just people yelling at each other, but I do think it is a competition show, and you want to feel the stakes. You want to feel the frustration of not succeeding to your high expectations. And I think the show's done a really great job right now.
Couple things here. Buddha, glad to see your dog's doing okay.
Yeah, we didn't talk. By the way, how amazing is that? Like, he spent much of his winnings on eye surgery for his dog. That's amazing.
Bug. It's adorable. I love that. We don't often get to hear like a after Top Chef, the before and after. What did you put your money towards? And a nice little heartwarming story about that. I also wanted to make note of Sarah. I don't think I did that where I smoked cigs and smoked weed, got a little stoned, and then went to soccer practice afterwards. But I love that detail, and I may have been jealous of my high school friends who did that after school. That seemed like a perfect little vignette into her story. So I don't know about you, Kevin, but
no, I did all that, but I didn't play soccer. Then I went home and watched the Jeffersons. Like that was sort of my thing. By the way, I think Sarah's having a nice season, and I think she's consistently. You can see her presence on the teams that are more successful. I loved her quickfire interpretation. Like, look, I'm just going to do a Southern. You want a biscuit? I'll give you your biscuit, but I will maintain the glory of my biscuit. And pimento cheese, by the way, is still one of the great substances ever invented by man or woman.
There's never a half-eaten bowl of pimento cheese. It's always just full and then gone. That's it. Like before you blink, it's gone.
Yes. I wish more Delta Sky Clubs, if there is any Delta rep listening, you have pimento cheese in some Sky Clubs. I would like pimento cheese in all Sky Clubs. Thank you.
That is, you are the CEO of Delta tomorrow, and that is the first action item on your list.
Yes. Ed Bastian, get it together, man. Give me pimento cheese in every Delta Sky Club. Tom, any closing thoughts?
Well, let's get to real quick Last Chance Kitchen.
Oh yeah, that'll be your closing thought. Yes.
Okay.
Last Chance. It's going, man. It's happening.
It's happening.
It's a great
the Welsh rare bit, pub toast with the cheesy beer sauce, the most unappetizing dish. It looks just like sad French toast, and apparently it's delicious. Lots of dad jokes. You know what? I actually like. What was it? The dad joke in the elimination challenge. I think Charbel might have said it was like, "Go green and go green team because you're doing apples which are green and you're the green team." And then the camera pans to Tom, who's just giggling in delight because of the stupid dad joke that Charbel just delivered. And we get more of that on the Last Chance Kitchen, where Gail makes a surprise cameo because her husband proposed over a plate of Welsh rarebit. Kevin, I love this. A little bit of romance, a little bit of, a heartwarming tale of two lovebirds enjoying the matrimony or the futures together and tying the knot and committing to one another over a plate of cheesy, soggy bread. So we got Gail.
And bless Gail, one of my favorite people. Just fantastic. But I do like it. She is Canadian, and one of the things I've noted about Canada is they have a greater appreciation for bad British food than the survivors of American colony do. And I was, it is one of the most confounding and endearing and ridiculous things I've ever heard. Is that Welsh rarebit is this food that is I don't know. I'm trying to think of what mine would be. I do love a Lunchable, but that's probably
it's just like a plate of nachos. It's like it just seems like a pub food that this is when I'm gonna propose. I'm gonna get down on one knee and propose to my wife. It's like, okay, here we go. I got a plate of nachos. Yeah.
What happened to Dawn this season?
Yeah, the kimchi with the cheddar, it didn't hit. I don't know. It didn't seem like she had a lot of confidence. And maybe that's just the result, and I'm looking backwards, but it seemed like she was a little, and I sympathize with this. It's not like just because you're on TV or just because you're on one of the top shows in America for your craft doesn't necessarily mean that you come in with without any self-doubt. And to me, the time management issues did creep up a little bit in this season, but she didn't nail it. And this was a 3-person Last Chance Kitchen with Dale, May, and Dawn, 3 of your chef testants on your squad going head to head to head. And poor Samuel had to sit there lonely in his chair of shame in that peanut gallery. And Dawn is joining him. I don't know what happened with Dawn, but I thought that this competition being like kind of an Olympics of chefs, I felt like she had a little bit more experience here and felt like she was coming in with a lot more body of work and that she would be able to rise to the challenge. But you know what? There's just a lot of good chefs here, Kevin. And May and Dale, as you know, they're super strong. So maybe just her exit isn't necessarily a product of her so much as it is just a product of the competition.
From a narrative standpoint, it's always nice to see Last Chance Kitchen chef kind of correct their fatal flaw. And for Dale, he had a non-interpretation of the Scotch egg that was kind of risk averse and boring and wussy-ish. And in Last Chance Kitchen, he really kind of reinvented the rare Welsh. He went in the other direction and was rewarded for it. So that was nice. I always like to see risk
I thought it was going to actually hurt him, Kevin. I thought he was actually not going to the script on this one as much. And I thought that might have hurt him because it seemed like Dawn and May did a little bit more straightforward version of the Welsh rarebit. But he did a rabbit. And actually, when the rarebit came on the screen the first time, I was like, is that a typo? Did they mean rabbit? But no, it was a rarebit and he did the rabbit. It didn't make total sense to me how it was a deconstructed or a creative interpretation, but that was a really great dish according to Tom and Gail. Real closing thoughts. Wow. I think we're gonna, there was a little preview into the next episode at the end of this one. And, it seems like there's a lot more drama that's going to happen in the next episode. And not to say that this hasn't had drama. We just had someone get stabbed with an EpiPen and still win the challenge. But I think, this has been a really strong season. And I got to say, like, in terms of storyline, we're seeing this in the NBA right now where the landscape is very flat and we don't have the Magic versus Larry or the LeBron versus Steph, the two teams that are clearly going to meet in the finals. I would have said it was clear from the beginning that Begonia and Buddha are destined for a heavyweight battle at the end of this, but it is flat, man, Kevin. Like it is. I can't tell you if like Tom could win this whole thing. Sarah could win this whole thing. I think it's pretty open.
It is open. Much parity. This is a great season. Good job for Tom Haberstroh. This is Kevin Arnovitz, and this is Pack Your Knives.